Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Hope that everyone is well and safe, especially considering that we're in the midst of a pandemic. So today I just want to talk to you a bit about networking, but before getting straight into that, please do allow me to introduce myself. My name is Saihil Rewachanda. I'm a fourth year or honor student at the University of BeSMART'S. I am essentially pursuing a degree in accountancy or the CA route, in other words. My current qualifications, well, I only really have one, and that is a bachelor's degree, so the Bachelor of Accounting Science at WITS, of which I have graduated cum laude. As I mentioned, I currently am pursuing my honors degree, but thereafter we're looking at masters and hopefully someday to be studying abroad. I have several role models, so the closest role model and the one that I aspire to be like the most is my father. He's taught me everything that I know, and he's guided me a lot. Thereafter, externally would be the likes of Richard Branson and Warren Buffett. To see what they have done as entrepreneurs in the world is extraordinary. One thing that I do like to say to myself is it's great to look up towards certain role models and to want to be like them. But we need to look beyond that. In life, we always need to go a step beyond. So yes, maybe you can say you want to be like Richard Branson or Warren Buffett, etc. Why stop there? Why not want to supersede that, to surpass them, to be better than they currently are? So don't just aim here where they are, but aim above that, aim beyond that. All right. So what is networking? I suppose if you Google it, you'll get a definition of the word. But what does networking mean to me? I suppose let me answer that from my perspective. Well, networking is essentially interacting with individuals that you would like to have connected to you, almost in a sort. So it's basically the exchanging of information such as contact details in order to establish those professional contacts in like a working world, in an industry, etc. So it's, for example, if I meet an individual and I believe that we could be of mutual benefit to one another, or that they could assist me in achieving the goals that I want to in the future, then I would like to network with them. I would like to exchange details and keep that contact in the future so that when I might need them, I can call upon them. So I use the word mutual quite loosely. In fact, networking can be quite a selfish thing. You see, usually where we are as students, right, is we're just starting up. We're trying to find that foundation. We might just have come to university and we're trying to find our path. And those that we're networking with are usually going to be people that have been where we've been, or people that are already experienced in the field that we're trying to enter, or the things that we're trying to do. So what do I mean by this? I mean that I would want to network with an accountant, like a chartered accountant, right? I'm not a CA yet, but I would like to network with a CA because they already have that experience, they already have that exposure, and I'm trying to get to where they are, right? So it can be quite a selfish thing, but then we need to network in both ways. So if you want to network with someone that's achieved what we have achieved, hopefully they'd be willing to share their details and we can stay in touch with them. They can mentor us almost, right? Then you get networking on a level to level basis. So networking with those that have similar mindsets to you. And that's why they say that those who you have in your friend group are extremely important, because networking might not necessarily just be business connections, but it could also just refer to your friends. Your friend group is a form of networking. So those that you keep around you form part of your network. And then you get networking on a mentee kind of level. So you might get someone that's younger than you coming to you and saying, how do you go about grade 9, for example? You've already got that experience, they see you as successful, and they would want to network with you. So there's almost three forms of networking. It's networking with someone that could be a mentor to you, someone that could guide you, networking with those that are on the same level as you, same age, that kind of thing, and then networking with those that are younger than you. Hence, it's a professional connection, yes, but it can also be a social connection. That's the importance, or that's what networking really is, I suppose. So yeah, and then how relevant is networking at the moment? Networking is an age-old important tool that we need to have and that we need to practice all the time. Without networking, without having a group of connections that we can fall upon, it makes life a lot more difficult. And I can just simply talk about that in terms of, just think about university, right? It's already a very unknown place. or even high school, right? So let's discuss high school. If you did not know someone in older grade that, or in a latter grade, that could assist you, right, on the path that you want to go with, that could guide you with career or subject choice and things like that, how difficult would your life have been? Think about anything in your life where you've gotten some form of guidance because of a network, because of a contact that you already have in place. If you had to try and do that individually, how much more difficult would that be? And that really just shows the significance of networking. If we don't have someone that we can fall on that has that specific skill set or criteria that we're looking to become or we're looking to better ourselves with, then it becomes even more difficult, because now we're trying things by trial and error. Basically, that's what happens. Like, okay, if I do this, what's the result going to be? Whereas you can learn from someone else's mistakes. And the problem with that is sometimes things don't allow for trial and error. What do I mean by that? For example, pursuing a degree or pursuing a career path and then realizing it's actually not for you because you didn't know what it was. Whereas if you had someone in your network with that ability already in them, with that experience, with that wisdom that you could have learned from, how much of a difference would that have made? I'm sure you can answer that yourselves. And the same works in an aspect where you're mentoring someone, right? Where someone younger comes to you and they're asking to network with you, we need to oblige as far as possible, you know? If someone has assisted you in your lifetime, then I think we have a duty to help others. And if you have not gained guidance by someone else, right, or from someone else rather, regarding a specific aspect or topic or whatever it might be, and you wish you did, and then a student comes along to you, or someone younger than you comes to you, or even a friend says, listen, we need some guidance, or let me not say friend, but rather a stranger that might even be on your level, but that just didn't have the same amount of guidance as you did, it becomes our duty to want to assist them. Yes, duty is a very strong word, all right, and I don't use that word very lightly, because how do we progress as a country if we don't assist others, if we don't want to mentor others? I'm not saying that you have to speak to them every day, that you have to baby them and check up on them. No. Networking can simply be exchanging emails or exchanging contact details, and then when that person needs you, they can give you a call, and then you take 5 minutes of your time to answer their questions. Everyone in this world becomes busy, yes, but we prioritize different things. So when people say that they're busy, it's just a list of priorities. So I'm not saying make this your main priority, but give that person some time. We always have some time. We sleep, don't we? Right? And this might be a very harsh example. We sleep. But let me phrase it to you this way rather. When we were in school, all right, we had obviously school rules, code of conduct, etc., and we were required to make sure that we were clean shaven at all times, right? So the one time, I think one of my classmates didn't shave, and we went to science, and my science teacher asked him why he didn't shave, and he said, I'm busy, I don't have the time. So he gave us a little practical example, and he says in the military, right, a similar situation happened with him or one of his colleagues or friends or whatever you want to call them, and when his sergeant asked, why didn't you shave or do whatever you needed to do, he said, sorry, I didn't have any time. And the matter of the fact is, his sergeant asked him, did you sleep? And he said, yes. Right? Or rather, he asked him, what were you doing at 3 o'clock in the morning? And he said, I was sleeping. So he says, then the fact of the matter is you did have time. During the time that you were sleeping, you could have done whatever was needed. For example, shaving. Yes, it is extreme, right? But the fact of the matter is that certain things take sacrifice. So if you want to pursue your dreams, you need to sacrifice things like sleep. So instead of getting 9 to 10 hours, which we comfortably get sometimes, or even 8 hours, sometimes you need to sacrifice. If things need to get done, you need to sleep 6 hours. That's how it is. So even when you achieve success in life, which all of you are destined to do, don't forget about where you came from. That is extremely important. Don't forget about how you as a student, as a child, would have wanted that guidance that you may not have gotten, and that now a student has come to you and asked you for that guidance. Remember to provide it. Take a few moments of your time. In a time during social distancing, when events, let's just talk business events, right, are very limited. I myself am an entrepreneur in my time when I'm not pursuing studies and so forth. I guess I do both almost on a parallel basis. So I'm going to use a lot of references to business because that's what I'm familiar with. So let's say you can't attend business conferences, free conferences, stuff like that because of the pandemic. Or when there is a conference, there's certain limitations, it might not be free, or, you might not be able to get into that event that you wanted to get into. And that's the beauty of the fourth industrial revolution. Everything is going online. So most of you going into university will understand that there is a society called the Golden Key, right? Where obviously top achievers, 15%, obviously become part of a network. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, I would definitely encourage you to work towards that. But there are different societies and different groups that one can be a part of. Things like that, where now you already have access to a network. So networking, yes, might be proactively trying to create connections with different people. But sometimes by joining a society, you automatically get exposure to the network within that society that's already been established. And that is key, because all the hard work's been done for you. Think about it, right? If, let's say, getting into Golden Key is 15%, I might be mistaken, but let's say you have to be top 15% of achievers in your degree or whatever it is. Imagine the quality or the caliber of people that you'll be able to network with. So it's the same thing. Even simply being part of a business group, a business-minded group, obviously it needs to add value. I am quite skeptical when it comes to these kind of things because people speak about business groups and then nothing really gets done about it. You could be part of a group and then it's just there. But you need to be actively part of a society or some type of community that shares your mindset. So I am also with the Alan Gray Orbis Foundation, and we have other Alan Gray fellows, and candidate fellows rather, people that I'm exposed to and that I have connections with and contact with, that are trying to pursue similar things that I am. They're trying to pursue entrepreneurial goals, for example. And that being said, I have access to that community now. And it's easy to network because of those kind of things. So working hard in life really gives you access to a lot of things. And you need to take advantage of those things, take advantage of those networks, bounce ideas off those kind of people. So whether it's just like a varsity group or society, for example, universities have tons and tons of societies where you can automatically network with people. That basically grants you access to a network. So let's say you apply for the debating society, for example, right? You already get access to other debaters, different caliber of people, because some of them have more experience in you that you can learn from. So let's say that's one of your passions. And the way that things are working with the fourth industrial revolution, is that everything's being taken online. So they'll have a WhatsApp group, they'll have Zoom meetings, etc., or virtual meetings, whether it be via Google Meets, etc. Whatever it's just an example that there are still tons of ways to network during a pandemic, and we should never limit ourselves. Even things like competitions. So, the founder of BeSMART, right? Sizwe is a very, very good friend of mine, and interestingly enough, I met him through that a business competition, the CFO Junior Case Study competition, which is held by CharterQuest. So sometimes when you're passionate about a certain topic and you want to learn about certain things, you enter into these competitions, budget your time. That's extremely, extremely important. See what's necessary, what's not, but enter into these type of competitions or events and stuff like that will all be happening online now, and that already grants you access to a different community. Because when someone else speaks, you're like, okay, wow, they're very impressive, so you'd like to learn from them, those kind of things. So the excuse of a pandemic, right, doesn't work for me, because there's still many, many ways that you can still progress in life, that you can still network with other people by just doing different things, by working hard, entering different societies, even certain platforms like LinkedIn. So I love LinkedIn because it's a very professional platform, and you can see what type of people are on there, what type of qualifications they have, what type of experience they have, etc. So sometimes you can message a person that you would like to network with, that you might have heard about, and you're not always guaranteed a response. That's fair, but it's another way to network. So use social media to your advantage. It doesn't always have to be about sitting on Instagram and scrolling through different feeds and things like that. You might not be doing that, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that what you're doing at the moment is incorrect, but we can spend our times very wisely. And this is a very important question because it kind of relates to everything I was saying, that If you work hard and improve your skills and grow your skill base, you become a more qualified person. People admire you, they see you in a different light. So, what I mean by this, just take a person, for example, and say that you are studying computer science, right? This is just an example. And you're currently pursuing your bachelor's in computer science. Whereas now you know someone that has their bachelor's, that has their honors, that has their master's, and are currently doing the doctorate, for example. What kind of respect would you have for that person, right? So yes, it might be in one field, it might be very specialized, but they're highly qualified, and that sets them apart. It already makes you a role model without you even wanting to be a role model in some instances. And that's where humility comes into play, I believe. No matter how qualified you are, you always need to remain humble and want to help other people. So skill set makes a massive, massive, massive difference. It also, and unfortunately this is the way that the world works, the more qualified you are, and maybe it's a misconception, but this is how the world is. The more qualified you are, the more experienced you are, or the more that you're doing, the harder that you work, and people see those kind of things, the easier it is to actually network. So what do I mean by that? The CEO of Vodacom is more likely to take someone that's doing a doctorate in computer science seriously than someone that's just doing a bachelor's. Unfortunately, yes, we all have to start somewhere. And that's a beautiful quote that I like. Every professional, every expert has had to start somewhere. But you understand the value of hard work then. You understand where you want to be in life and why you need to get there so desperately. Along the way, you will network, and as you gain more experience, as you increase your education, and as you keep going forward, people will start taking you more seriously. That's why they tend to look down on people that are young, which isn't actually the case, because there is a very big difference between intelligence and wisdom, you know, like book smart and just having that wisdom because you've learned from certain experiences or other people's experiences, and that you can use to your benefit, you know. But having skills are extremely, extremely important. Well, I have spoken about this, and I told you the 3 different types, and I feel like you should be trying to make all 3 types. Primarily now, you're at a point in your life where you'd want to be focusing more on those that already have the skills and things that you're looking to achieve, or those that can benefit you. And sometimes what I mean by those that can benefit you is, for example, if you're trying to develop an app, but you're not an app developer, you'd want to be connected to an app developer. So those kind of people, that's what I mean by that. So you're trying to look at people that would benefit you in this lifetime, but hopefully, as you grow, you would be able to benefit them as well. And it's nothing that's guaranteed, but you should have that mutualism kind of ideology, basically, that, you know, we never want to leech off people. So yes, we might not be able to assist them now, but once we educate ourselves, once we grow, and once they assist you in becoming a better person, you can conversely try and help them and repay them almost, right? Unfortunately, nothing in this world is for free. So yes, it's it's quite an interesting concept. When someone gives you something, right, you should always look to try and pay them back in some way, or try and assist them in the future for all that they've done for you. But when someone asks you for help, that's when things become free almost, because you should be willing to help them for free and not expect anything in return. Yeah, so it's kind of like a saying that I like, a spiritual saying, that when someone serves you, you should never forget it. But when you serve someone else, you should forget it instantly. Because what's the point of remembering, right? Does it make you a better person? No. But if you have that humility and you give openly, then that's a different story. I think it's extremely important to be who you are. Number one, never try and be fake about anything. That's why they tell you it's a very big mistake to try and lie on a CV, right? To put something that's false. So be who you are. That makes a very big difference as it is, because, for example, if you're talking to me, I want to know who you are. I don't want to know what your degree entails, and that's why I didn't delve into my qualifications too much, for example. My personal opinion, right? Tell me a bit about yourself, and tell me about what drives you. Tell me about your ambitions. Tell me about where you want to be in life, what you want to do in life, who you want to help in life. That's what I want to hear, right? Other lasting impressions would be your body posture. Like when someone's talking, are you interested? Are you keen on what they're saying? Do you not really care? What kind of energy levels do you give off, you know? Your body posture is very important, right? If I sit like this openly, they say that it tends to give off a bit more of a not authoritarian, but rather like a commanding respect kind of atmosphere. Nothing that's aggressive or arrogant, I would hope so, but something that shows that you're confident, that you're able to speak, and that you're interested in hearing what someone says. So I think regarding the psychology, that's something you might have to look into a little bit more often. But for example, if you cross your hands and you listen to someone, that body posture will immediately changes that atmosphere. You don't want to do that. Also, things like eye contact. So when people are speaking to you and you're trying to make a connection, make sure that you look at them and you speak on equal terms. Yes, you might be a little nervous, right? But confidence goes a long way. If someone comes up to me and has to ask me for help and they're confident, not arrogant, confident, they're able to approach me and ask me for my assistance, that's already a bold step, and I appreciate that. I admire that so much. So confidence is key. And other small things, I guess, are things like dress code. Of course, we're not all privileged to be able to wear suits all the time, but look neat, look presentable, those kind of things. So when you have that kind of atmosphere, that kind of behavioral patterns, right? So your facial expressions, your body language, those kind of things, your dress code to some extent, that all makes a massive difference. Even your tone, when you're speaking to someone, you're asking someone for something, you can never be aggressive. You can't use demanding words, demanding tones, things like that, right? So that's, I guess, all within the actual contact making phase. When you're actually speaking to someone, that's how you should act. Now, how to leave an impression, well, I guess that varies from person to person, but usually for me, if someone obeys all those kind of rules or suggestions as they go throughout speaking to me, well, it makes a very big difference. In the end, I'll be wowed by that person. I might not be wowed. You see, like I mentioned to you previously, it's a misconception. You can tell me that you're very, very well and highly qualified, but if I feel that you're not a good person, well, are you really going to leave that much of a lasting impression on me? I'll say, okay, well, that person's extremely well educated, great. But are they a good human being? Well, that's a different story. Everyone thinks about it differently. Everyone is different. Some people might be wowed by tons and tons of qualifications. That's more or less how the industry is, unfortunately. But what you need to start doing in life is looking beyond that. Yes, you're extremely qualified, but what are you doing with that qualification? Yes, you're a millionaire, but what are you doing with all those millions? Are you helping other people? Are you, even if you're not donating any money, are you willing to give your time to help others? So that's why I say, by speaking, when someone tells me their ambitions, you can automatically tell what type of person they are. Do you want to help the world? Do you want to try and grant education to everyone? Or rather, equal education to everyone? Or are you just worried about yourself making millions and millions and millions? So it really is up to you as a person and the person that you're speaking to. But those kind of small tips do make a big difference. If there's anything that I can tell you to take away from this, really, it's that little, I'd say, quote, I'm paraphrasing, by Sri Satya Sai Baba. And basically when he went on to say, or rather one of his students went on to say, that when we serve, we must always forget that we've done service. But when someone serves us, we must never forget that. That in itself speaks millions. So yeah, I really hope this has been insightful. That's just a little segment on networking, what it means to me, the current, I suppose, way that society thinks about networking, and the way that I think networking should be done. The way that society thinks about people, and the way that I think we should start thinking about people. But I do wish you all the best, especially with your studies and everything moving forward. And if you need anything at all, if you'd like to get in touch to just have a chat with me, not saying that I'd be able to assist you much, but if there's anything you would like to ask me, then you're most welcome to email me, send me a WhatsApp, whatever. Wishing you all the best. Despite a pandemic, you can still make a name for yourself. We control our destinies, all right? As much as one may believe in fate that everything is preset, that's fair, but we can change that by working hard, by wanting to upgrade our skills, by wanting to be better people. And that being said, have a great day and enjoy this year. Thank you so much.